Enquiries, the SCG Nets, with special guest stars, the Indian cricket team, because they really wanted to be in a show with us.
In fact, if you listen very carefully to the sound of bat on ball, speed it up, play it backwards. In Morse code, it plays out, if I'm not wrong, we're going to try and score as many runs as possible tomorrow. Good tactics.
Very good, very good. Sackett says, if Australia beat India, a World Cup final between co-hosts second time in a row, which implies England in 2019. Zolt's cricket, are you smiling? Well, he is smiling. He's smiling partly because we've swapped the Indian cricket team for the great Richie Benaud.
Let's be honest, on the evidence of recent World Cups, it's not going to happen. We could have home advantage and bar any other team from entering Britain, and I think we'd still struggle to make it through.
Reverse Ball says, why is everyone avoiding the C word when describing South Africa's performance when it clearly was so?
What, cricket? I mean, I guess it was a game that was so good it transcended the concept of cricket and became a universal possession of all humanity.
It was colourful. I think it is unfair to call that a choke. A choke?
Yes.
I mean, a choke is when, if you can imagine that Andy Zoltman is here about to hold this, that's the World Cup. He's South Africa. He's got both hands on it, and suddenly I'm New Zealand and I go, it wasn't like that. New Zealand were just really, really good. So
yes, it's just a great game of cricket. Mistakes were made under pressure. That's not necessarily a choke. Winning teams make mistakes.
Well, New Zealand made some of those mistakes as well. I know people point to the drop catch and the collision and all of that, but don't forget South Africa absolutely fought their way back into a winning position in that match, but it was tight all the way. Tom says, should South Africa have played the extra bowler or done something better? If they'd done things better, they probably would have won.
Yes.
That would have worked.
That might have helped. With hindsight, they didn't need the extra batsman, but if the rain hadn't come, they may well have needed it. So
ifs, it doesn't matter now. Raj says, how much of a disadvantage would it be considering New Zealand have played every game in New Zealand and now have to play at the MCG? Particularly the MCG, I guess, which has got some pretty long boundaries compared to some of those New Zealand crickets.
Yeah, I guess the whole geometry of the game is different. It makes those big shots more fraught with risk. But at the same time, they're massively confident. They've got a supremely well-balanced team back all the way down to 9 or 10. Matt Henry wasn't needed to bat, but he hit 4 sixes, I think, in his last first-class innings. He's coming in 9 or 10, Southey at 10. I think they've definitely got the team to, whether they will win it or not, they've definitely got the team to win it.
Preston Momsen, that's the Preston Momsen, Scotland captain, says, your thoughts on the IRB's plans to expand future Rugby World Cups while ICC plans to reduce future Cricket World Cups. Well, by the way, you've hit the big time when World Cup captains are emailing you polite inquiries. But Preston, you should know we're on your side. It's ridiculous. People, my biggest argument then, if you just want to have a few teams, that's what the Champions Trophy's about. That's the Champions
That's
Trophy.
what the Ashes is about, frankly. We've got that. The Ashes plus India, that's what we want.
World being the operative
World Cup. And also, clearly, there's been so many things in this World Cup that shows what a great tournament this could be if the format was just geared a little bit more to more of the games meaning more. I would say keep it 14, 2 groups of 7, but only the top 3 get through. Second and third play off for a place in the semi-final. First goes through automatically. Therefore, you want to finish first in your group because you get into the semi-final automatically. You have to play well all the way through to get through. You can't have, West Indies getting through this time. They were not a good side. You don't necessarily want that in the knockout stage. I think that would solve almost all the World Cup problems at a stroke.
Astor says, was Jimmy Neesham's tweet the tweet of the day? He actually tweeted, holy bleep balls, this is the best day of my life. What a legend. Yes, it was the tweet of the day. Of course,
possibly the tweet of all time, because Jimmy Neesham was left out of the World Cup squad, and it just shows what the New Zealand performance has meant to the entire New Zealand cricket nation, the entire New Zealand nation, that even a player who might have been annoyed not to be playing in that game was absolutely losing his bananas over that cricket. So that was wonderful to see.
We salute you. Anirudh says, how crucial was the rain intervention in the semi-final? Well, it played a part because at that point, De Villiers, Miller, you felt that they could really go on and maybe make 370, 380, some massive score at that point if the rain hadn't come down.
Yeah, it's quite hard to tell.
Yeah, it's hard to say because then you know, you don't know what Brendon McCullum might have done in the same situation.
Who knows? I think it definitely favoured New Zealand a bit, but not a massive amount. I think it could, had Miller's innings not happened, New Zealand made a big error by referring Faf du Plessis' catch down the leg side, having seen what Miller then came in and did. I don't think it was a huge factor, but I think it favoured New Zealand slightly.
Vikash says, should I be happy for New Zealand or sad for South Africa? Well, you can be both, because I was, yeah! And then I saw Mornay more, because I'm Mornay. I was sad.
Yeah, it's not an either or. It's possible to have more than one emotion simultaneously.
Yeah.
Just try and work that into your daily routine.
What is one thing India do to win against Aussies? I say if they take more wickets, score more runs, they've got a pretty good chance.
Yep, that's absolutely, can't argue with that, Mel. It's not one thing they need to do to beat Australia. They need to do lots of things, clearly.
And very well.
Lots of things very well. And as happened with yesterday's game, they'll probably do some things badly, as will Australia. Who knows? It might be a game that's decided by a burst early on. It might be a cliffhanger like we saw yesterday. You have to do lots of things well. It's not one thing. But I think India's spinners will have a massive say in the destiny of the game. If it goes well for them, then I think India may win. If it goes badly, it's going to be very difficult.
Francis says, is Brendon McCullum the most fearless cricketer? He's fearless, yes, but he's also very aggressive. But he's most fearless in the field, and I hold my breath every time he gets anywhere near the boundary. We spoke before about having zing boundaries that light up when someone gets there. I think the whole stadium would explode every time Brendon McCullum dives head first.
The way he feels, they need
Ridiculous.
those tyre walls they have in Formula One instead of on the advertising boards. And he's a great example in the field. In terms of his captaincy, he was, as always, massively aggressive in that game. He
Really
catches in to try and force that extra wicket. It doesn't always work. It didn't force the wicket, but it showed that mindset. With the bat, the fearlessness is it's almost tactical. They've got such a long batting line. They know they can risk McCullum. He knows that he goes out. If he scored, like he did yesterday, 50 off 25 balls, that has turned a really difficult chase into something that's just over, 6.5 and over, which in modern cricket is something that is highly manageable. So it's kind of strategic bravery.
Mo says, after that epic New Zealand v South Africa match, is there any doubt that cricket is man's greatest intellectual achievement?
No doubt at all. I mean, there wasn't any doubt before, but there's even less doubt now. It's mankind's greatest achievement, full stop.
Intellectual, physical, spiritual.
Any
it's
artistic,
the one you need.
That's it. You can imagine cricket without life or the planet Earth just drifting through, but you can imagine life without cricket. So
You just can't. Cricket wins every time.
Yeah.
We'll see you next time. What's this gesture?
I don't know, but he's got this ready for a leg spinner. Something for the housewives. What a figure of a man.
Whoa.
Probably 60 years ago.